Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. This is episode number 448. Today, I'm talking about doing hard things in business. Now let's dive in. Have you already found business success but feel lonely at the top? Or do you feel like you're at a place in your business where others just don't get it? Or maybe you feel like you have to make yourself smaller in order for others to not feel less than. Or maybe just a little bit of all three. But with all that said, there is good news because I've been there and I see you, sister. I'm Taylor Bradford, the torchbearer of this podcast and sisterhood, and I'm here to lead and inspire you to stay purposely aligned in the success you have found and provide you with support, guidance, and a sisterhood to keep going, because I do get it. Your business journey isn't meant to be traveled alone. So grab a notebook, your favorite pen, and a bevy, and let's dive into this together with this latest podcast episode. Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative and me. Hello, welcome to episode number 448. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode is sponsored by my brand new Facebook group, which I would love for you to be a part of. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/community to get yourself in there ASAP. We are waiting for you. So this week, we're talking about how to do hard things in business. Before I get into the meat of this week's episode, let's check in with what's been going on in social media land with this week's social media headlines. Social media headline number 1, Meta confirms that Facebook's link history option is coming to all users. It's a brand new way to track links that you've interacted with on Facebook. Social media headline number 2, Meta files new motion to stop the Federal Trade Commission from implementing user data restrictions. Meta is fighting the FTC's effort to restrict the company's use of user data, specifically for teen users. Social media headline number 3, TikTok launches a 2024 marketing calendar to assist in your planning. Some helpful pointers for your 2024 TikTok campaigns. And that wraps up this week's social media headlines. Okay, before I dive into doing hard things in business, let's give a social experiment update. So as of this recording, I have the entire funnel set up. I have 10 emails ready to start dripping once I capture somebody's email address. And now it's really just about creating the Instagram Reels so that I have content hitting my brand new Instagram channel, which I will be leaving out of this particular podcast and really out of this channel because I want to make sure that I have a true offering without anyone knowing what the account is or who the account is under. So wish me luck. Again, I will be sharing all the nitty-gritty about how this actually works out, but I am finally fully set. I just have to start creating the content for the Reels. So I hope to start doing that today, which means I officially launch tomorrow. So stay tuned for another update next week to hear how it's going. Plus, I'm going to be giving updates on what it's like to grow a brand new channel doing this type of social media kind of marketing, and which is really kind of intense because it's 3 reels a day on Instagram, and then you save that same content to the other 2 channels, which they recommend at least 2. So I will be doing Facebook. I'm not going to be doing TikTok, so I'm just focused on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not really into TikTok and actually don't have a TikTok. I believe one of my businesses has a TikTok. I think Sugar Creek has a TikTok, but I don't actually operate it, and I couldn't tell you the last time we actually posted on it. So I will be focused on Instagram and Facebook, and we're going to see where this goes. So wish me luck. Again, this is an update on my social experiment to marketing a high-ticket affiliate offer. And like I said, stay tuned because we will be learning this together as far as how it works and whether or not I can replicate or get anywhere close to adding an additional income stream into my existing baskets of money. So, yes. Okay, let's talk about doing hard things in business. And this one is specific to growing pains in your business, like when is it time to hire a new person, but also when is it time to let someone go? And that's where I'm at in my business is there's been something off for about 6 months. And I really didn't understand where it went off the rails. And when something like this happens, what I want to caution you about is this isn't about you personally. Like you don't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. 9 times out of 10, it is not you that has caused the thing, right? Sometimes it could be based on your management style, based on your interactions, but like if you actually drop the balls and don't provide the things, but most of the time it's going to be on that person and not you. So in this scenario, just for a hot second, I did have a thought, what did I do wrong? Because where we are, obviously we're in a brand new year and we start events this weekend and we've got inquiries for the rest of the year. And based on how we receive inquiries, we are not a long-term booked kind of a vendor. We're a last minute. We're a 2 weeks out to 2 months out to 6 months out. For us to get something longer booked out is very rare, like very, very rare. So we operate between 2 weeks out to 6 months out. And really, I think our sweet spot's about the 6 to 8 week mark. And which makes planning hard. Trust me, like that's not really great for business and planning and knowing how you're going to hit your revenue goals, etc. Plus, add on top of that, you don't know when somebody's getting engaged. You don't know when they start interacting or find you to see your marketing, etc. So the wedding industry, specifically, especially event rentals, is just really challenging. It's really challenging as a niche to be a part of, but just in general, the wedding industry itself is challenging because it's one-offs. We very rarely get repeat business. And when we do, it is like for future gatherings of, baby shower or birthday party or, surprise announcement, etc. And corporate events. We love corporate events because those can be repeat businesses, but weddings, they're one-off. Your clients are one-off. And it's very challenging to continue getting repeat business from somebody that has booked you for their wedding because in their mind, this is the biggest celebration that they have ever planned. And they're spending a level of money that is not a normal spend level most of the time. And they won't do it again for a really, really, really long time, if ever. So that is what truly makes our industry very unique. So all of that, brand new year, we've got our first events rolling in this weekend, and it's been nice to have a break. It's been nice to just kind of chill a little bit. But with that, let's fast forward 6 months ago. 6 months ago or 7 months ago, I don't know. My big event of all time at that moment, my big event of all time at that moment was my East Texas event. And we were out there for basically a week. And it was kind of tough because we were away from home. We were on a property that we weren't really familiar with, and we had a lot of work to do, basically sun up to sundown. It was a lot. But we got through it. We had a wild storm pop up on the actual event day that really shocked me to my core and terrified me all in the moment. Everything was fine. Everything turned out fine, but it was very stressful. And while the situation was unique in the sense of what we were doing, it wasn't hard it was hard physically because we were really working for the 4 or 5 days that we were out there. But it wasn't like I wasn't thinking, oh my God, I will never do this again. Like, if I do this again, there's a lot more money involved. I will have more team members out here, because that's just the scope and the distances we were traveling. And while we had a golf cart, we were just covering a lot of terrain, like a huge Texas ranch. And things were not put together well. Like, there was just too much walking distance between activations and experiences, etc. So it was wild. It was a first time for the event, a lot of firsts, but I am proud of the fact that we did it. And I'm proud of what I produced. I'm proud of, what the guests experienced and the opportunity that it provided me. Okay, so now let's fast forward. There have been things that have been occurring with my assistant that just felt off. And I really didn't start seeing it until recently. And then once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you start reminiscing back down memory lane, and you realize it really started there, back in East Texas. And I struggled with, how do I have this conversation? Because I am not a confrontation person. That's not in my personality. It makes me very uncomfortable. And I know that most people don't like confrontation, but it truly makes me wackadoodle. Like, I couldn't sleep. It affects me in such a profound way that it's not something I look forward to. And again, I realize people don't look forward to confrontation, but it does a number on my body. And I always overthink, which is another part of my personality. I always overthink things like, oh my gosh, how is it going to turn out? How is this going to go? And you kind of go through a little bit of grief stages when you have to confront something. And so there were moments where I was angry. There were moments when I felt lost. And I was like, okay, come on, Taylor, let's get through this. We're going to have this conversation. And when you have a conversation with somebody that's working with you or for you, you have to preface things by not allowing yourself to go on the defense, which is just going to trigger that person to go on the defense. So using words like I feel, because you can't challenge how somebody feels. I feel. And so I wrote down, thanks to a really great friend, I wrote down things that I felt. And I had a jumping off point because of how things were making me feel. So when I finally got to the day of having the conversation, I was able to compartmentalize all of the emotions and just A, be present, but B, keep myself in check. Because I didn't want to get overly emotional. And at the end of the day, it's not personal. This is business, right? Regardless of what kind of friendship you have created with the person working for you, etc. Like, this is not personal. This is business, and this is affecting my business, and that ultimately affects revenue, etc., etc., etc. So now it's time to have the conversation, and I say, hey, we need to talk. I feel like there's something going on or has been going on for the last 6 months, and I need to understand where you are in your headspace, where you are in your brain. And that was all I had to say. It opened the conversation, got us started, and it really reflected all the way back to that East Texas event. And my assistant just wasn't ever able to regroup. And part of this learning experience for me really showed me where she's at a maturity level, where she is at just personally. And I wish that she would have said something to me even 3 months ago. I wish I would have had the fortitude to be like, what is going on? Something's off. But, you look at when things take place, or you look at actions and reactions, and you're like, oh, they're just having an off day, or, they didn't really hit the mark on that particular task. But then it all adds up. And once I saw what actually triggered this look back is the most bizarre thing. And I'm not going to say it out loud because it sounds a little selfish of me, but it's ultimately what made me look backwards. And to make sure I wasn't losing my mind, I went to a good friend of mine and said, hey, you've been around this person as well. Obviously not as much as me, but do you see these things? Am I just literally like going bonkers here? And no, my friend has seen these things and not going bonkers. And so again, a lot of feeling of, why did I let this go on so long? I'm about to start into spring wedding season. I need to train somebody. I need to put the call out. Because here's the other thing. I am such a giver, and the opportunities that I afford somebody working for me, like I feel can easily be taken advantage of. And so I do have a lot of those feelings. I feel taken advantage of. And so when I said, I have to find somebody else. I have to get somebody trained, about to come into spring wedding season. Like, where are you at in seeking another job? And like, I can't just keep you on just to keep you on. Like, I need the help, but I need the new person to be the one that's providing the help. And because this kind of came out of left field for her, she doesn't have an answer. And which is a little heartbreaking, because you should always understand how you're making money and where you need to be looking to make money. And you shouldn't stay longer than you need to when you're no longer happy at a job. You should rectify that situation ASAP, because at the end of the day, your sanity, your ability to find joy, etc., is way more important. And so you should have a plan. And I was shocked that there really wasn't a plan, because what was said is something that she said to me in the past, and it's the same exact thing, but said like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whenever we had this conversation previously. And it wasn't with me saying, where are you at in your head? Like, I literally don't think that this is the role for you long term. I don't think this is where you're meant to be. And that's obvious because there are a lack of all of these things. Like, I feel like you're distracted. I feel like you're not showing up for me. I feel taken advantage of. I feel like you don't appreciate the things that I'm doing and that you expect them. And I think that that's the hardest one for me, is the expectation that I should just keep doing it. No, I work really hard for what I have and what I've created. So no, you don't just get to have those things because you are deserving of them. You're not showing me that. So a lot of perks that I've given out, and they've been received, but they've been expected. And you should never have that kind of level of expectation, because listen, it's not rainbows and roses all of the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so having hard conversations, doing hard things. So I have already put a call out for a new assistant. I have put it out on my social media. I will be running an email campaign specifically for this, sending out today, and I will put it out in additional social channels, plus listed on Indeed, because I need somebody in the role and I can't wait. So as soon as I have somebody in the role and I'm getting them trained, which she'll be able to do some training with them, that was when I will give a 2-week notice. I can't keep you both on, and I don't know how long it's going to take me to fill the role, but you can't hang on because you don't have something else. Like, I can't be your stepping stone because it's not beneficial for me. Like, you're not showing up, and you haven't been showing up in oh, by the way, you're going to now start showing up. No, that's not how this works. Like, you have held me back for 6 months and I only just realized it. You're not going to hold me back any further. So doing hard things in business. Wow. I never thought I would see this particular day for this assistant happen. Like, truly, I didn't. I thought that she would be a part of the Taylor Bradford umbrella for a really long time, and which is hard. That's hard because it's a loss, because you have invested so much time and effort, resources, etc., into a human being, but you just hope that you gave them some skills, that you taught them something so that they can move on through their life. I just hope that, truly. I truly just hope that. Thank you so much for listening to Doing Hard Things in Business. Again, I would love for you to be a part of the brand new Facebook group. Get yourself in there, bossgirlcreative.com/community. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of the week. Oh, wait, before I go, thank you truly for your support of my own business journey and this podcast, The Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur. If you know another entrepreneur who is in the same business trenches, who has already found success but might be feeling a bit lonely in their journey, my hope is that you'll share this podcast and this sisterhood with them. Because this, what we do day in and day out, isn't meant to be done alone. Speaking of lonely, if you're ready to squash the business journey loneliness, stop what you're doing right now and join the sisterhood. Visit bossgirlcreative.com/sisterhood. I can't wait to see you in there.